Welcome to the West Ham Voice. Thank you for joining me. My name is Stel, as you already know. This is a new show for you. It's a show that is going to focus purely on news stories that come out on 6foot2.co.uk. If you've yet to visit the website or have yet to become a member, why not give it a try? Because there's quite a lot of information on there for West Ham lovers, and it gives you a whole array of updates on our beloved West Ham United. On the website, we have the news stories that are written primarily by Cheese News editor Sean Whetstone, but we have many other writers who contribute towards the latest stories that are happening about West Ham. So do go and visit that. There's also a particular area called Now News, which not only highlights all the stories written by 6foot2.co.uk, but it also gives you a link to all the other news stories that are written elsewhere, such as Hammers News, Claret and Hugh, the West Ham Zone, etc., all in one central area. So do go and visit that as well. On the website as well, you will also get links to the latest More Than Just a podcasts. So do visit that too, and you can get bring yourself up to date on all the latest podcasts by the guys that do that as well. Also, you can get links to the latest videos on YouTube given to you by this channel, the West Ham Voice, but also by the Claret and Booze Boys as well, which is well worth a visit too. Plus, something a little bit different that not a lot of other West Ham websites do, and that's the West Ham United history page as well. Nigel Khan, our local historian and the owner of this website, gives you updates on all the sort of historic details about West Ham and everything linked to West Ham. So, for example, Nigel recently had an archive look at Chelsea just before, as a build-up to the game that we played against them last weekend. That is also very much worth a visit. You can also give your own opinion as a member of the 6foot2.co.uk. You can also go in and write up an opinion piece about anything that's related to West Ham, and we'll publish that for you on the opinion page as well. Member post, you can do short comments as members, or like I just said, you can write an article about it, and you can become a member of the website. It's very, very simple to do, only takes a couple of minutes, and you'll get latest updates on all the West Ham related information when that appears on the website itself. Now, this channel, the West Ham Voice, is going to do brief video, daily videos, bulletins on all the latest stories that appear on 6foot2.co.uk. So when stories are written up, at the end of the day, around about 5 or 6 o'clock each evening, I'll give you a brief video update on all those stories. So let's get cracking with the ones that happened over the weekend. And the first one, of course, is the Premier League and the cancellation of all the weekend fixtures due to the Queen Elizabeth being deceased. Look, according to the Daily Mail, concerns were that fans may not have shown their appreciation levels as tributes to the Queen, and that was one of the contributing factors of not going ahead with any of the weekend fixtures. There were fears that dissent from supporters could also result in global embarrassment and unwanted attention at a sensitive time. There have been occasions, such as major domestic cup finals, where the national anthem is traditionally performed ahead of kickoff and an opportunity to voice views opposing the monarchy. Look, the full story, you can click on that QR code, but the full story can be found on 6foot2.co.uk or by clicking on the QR code on your screen. Interestingly, last Thursday, when the announcement was made that the Queen had died, the West Ham fans paid their respects by singing the national anthem, and the Steaua Bucharest fans, FCSB fans, also got involved by clapping during the national anthem being sung. So we paid our respects, and it was a shame that other clubs couldn't find a way to pay their respects as well. As we know, the Premier League game that was postponed at the weekend was against Newcastle, and it suggested that the first possible date that could be played for this game could be around about the 17th or the 18th of January, obviously after the World Cup and into the new year. There's also talk about other games being postponed this coming weekend, especially the games that are being held in or around London. So the three games in particular that could be affected are the Spurs against Leicester game, Brentford against Arsenal, and Chelsea against Liverpool. Now, there's talk about the possibility of these games being played on neutral ground, uh, reversing the fixtures. So the game against Spurs, Leicester, reversing that to be played at Leicester. The game against Liverpool, reversing that so it can be played at Liverpool against Chelsea. But that doesn't help the Brentford Arsenal game, because if you reverse that, it'd still be held in London. So there is talk about potentially postponing not just these three games, but also the whole all the Premier League fixtures this coming weekend. Again, you can get a full update on that by clicking on the QR code or by going on the 6foot2.co.uk website. Now, whenever the games are being played, it's suggested that David Moyes will have an almost fully fit squad available to him for the game against Silkeborg this Thursday, and if it goes ahead, the game against Everton at the weekend. Apart from long-term absentee Naif Agerd, it is thought that Maxwell Cornet and Thomas Soucek should be able to be available at the very, very least for the Everton game if the Silkeborg game comes too soon. Again, go on the website and get a full update on that story too. And did you know that West Ham United are about to enter another international competition? Well, let's put it in perspective. The Premier League International Cup, after being postponed for the last couple of seasons because of COVID, is due to return for the academy squads. Now, this is a competition that is held for the 16 to 21-year-olds in the academy. And it's a competition that's held both here and abroad that Premier League teams can compete in. Again, full details of that can be found on the QR code or by going to 6foot2.co.uk. It's been suggested by Stan Collymore that Thomas Tuchel could return to the Premier League and manage a team like West Ham United in the future. Collymore suggested that given Tuchel's shaky start at Chelsea could ultimately lead to, and obviously his ultimate dismissal, could lead to big European clubs being a little bit apprehensive about taking Tuchel on. Hence the opportunity for clubs like West Ham, who are up and coming and want to reach the next level, who can capitalise on a manager like Tuchel coming to manage them. Again, all the details on that story on that QR code. Now, we all know that David Moyes blocked the transfer move for Craig Dawson during the summer transfer window because we didn't have a ready-made replacement for him. However, Sheffield United central defender John Egan has been identified as a potential replacement for Dawson in the January transfer window. It's much considered that Dawson will be given a free transfer move to go back up north to be closer to his family in January. And Egan could be one of those players that might replace Dawson in the January window. Full details, you know what I'm going to say. Click on that QR code or go to 6foot2.co.uk for further details. Now, despite the summer transfer window having been shut, and despite the fact that Ibrahim Sangare of PSV Eindhoven has signed an extended deal with his current club PSV, there's still talk about him being a potential summer or January replacement for Declan Rice. Don't get me wrong, I'm not suggesting Declan will be leaving in January, but we're certainly expecting him to leave the club at the end of this season. And despite signing till 2027 with PSV, Ibrahim Sangare is still touted to be one of the long-term potential replacements for Declan Rice should he leave. Now, all hail Bruno Guimaraes of Newcastle United, who Lucas Paqueta name-checked in helping him decide to sign for West Ham this summer. Paqueta said that Guimaraes described West Ham as a great club who are difficult to play against. And Paqueta replied, well, they'll be even more difficult when I'm there. So thank you, Bruno Guimaraes, for recommending West Ham United to your Brazilian teammate, Lucas Paqueta. More details, you know what I'm going to say. on the West Ham on the 6foot2.co.uk website. And finally, an interesting but unsubstantiated report coming from Italian newspapers are suggesting that West Ham fans are already growing impatient with Gianluca Scamacca. Now, look, we all know what David Moyes is like. He eases new players in, and Scamacca is no different despite his price tag. And he's already scored 2 goals in the Europa Conference competition, and he's getting to grips with Premier League football as well. Talk of West Ham fans being impatient, way beyond the mark. Very, very far-fetched. You can see the full details of that story by clicking on the QR code or going to 6foot2.co.uk. Look, I hope you enjoyed this. What we're going to do from this point on, every day, when 6foot2.co.uk write new stories, we're going to do a show on this channel to update you on those stories. They're going to be short 5 to 10 minute videos highlighting the latest stories and what you can expect to see. And read. So do subscribe to 6foot2.co.uk. Do become a member of that website and look out for all the latest stories on here. The video is going to go out around about 5-6 o'clock each evening. So I do hope you join me for that. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all very soon.